welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into a really big decision for a lot of parents in Austin. Finding the right private elementary school, specifically looking at the academics. It's complicated.
It really is. Lots of info out there.
Yeah, exactly. So we're using some great insights here from Kelly Davis. She's got like 16 years of teaching experience, now works in education marketing strategy. This piece just came out April 25th, 2025.
Right. And our mission really is to unpack what best academics actually means.
Yeah.
To sort of pull out the key things parents should look for, maybe highlight some schools.
Because people are busy, right? They
Right.
need to know what really counts.
Let's get straight to it, though.
Okay, so first thing, the article really pushes back on the idea that it's all just test scores.
Absolutely. That's such a common starting point. But it's incomplete.
So it's more than just numbers.
Way more. Test scores are, one snapshot. But a great school does so much more. It's about building a love for learning, skills for life. It's quite a few pieces fitting together.
Okay, so if we're looking beyond those scores, what are the core pieces? The article mentions reading and math first.
Yeah, foundational is the right word. You need strong reading comprehension to learn anything else, really.
Right.
And solid math reasoning that builds that problem-solving muscle. Get those right early on, and it's a huge advantage. Like building a house, you need that solid base.
Makes sense. But it's not just reading and math, is it? The article talks about other foundational skills, too.
Definitely. Things like critical thinking. Can kids analyze stuff? Form their own judgments,
Okay.
and problem solving, how do they handle challenges, and of course communication, getting their ideas across. These are the skills they'll need no matter what they do later.
And then the teachers.
Yeah.
Huge factor. Davis mentions their credentials, their experience. Why is that so critical?
Oh, it's vital. Good teachers, experienced teachers, they bring so much. They know their subject, sure, but also how kids learn. They can adapt, they can engage different kids in different ways, they spot struggles early. They're really the guides on that early academic path.
Okay, so we're getting a better handle on what best academics involves. Now, for parents actually looking at schools, what are the practical things? Class sizes, student-teacher ratios come up.
Yeah, those matter. Smaller classes, lower ratios. It generally means more one-on-one time.
More individual attention.
Exactly. Think about it. A teacher with 15 kids versus 25. The first one just has more bandwidth for each child's needs, their questions.
Okay.
Alpha School, for example, they specifically mention their really low ratios. Research does suggest this helps, especially in those early grades.
What about those standardized tests, though? Parents see those numbers. How should they think about them?
They have a place. They show how students are doing compared to, a wider group.
Yeah.
Useful for spotting maybe broad strengths or weaknesses at a school level.
But not the whole story.
Not at all. It's just a snapshot, like we said. Doesn't tell you about the learning within the classroom or how well they handle different learning styles or individual progress.
Right. The article also brings up project-based learning, experiential stuff, hands-on. What's the benefit there?
Oh, huge benefits. It moves learning beyond just memorizing. Kids get actively involved.
Like science experiments.
Yeah, or maybe a history project where they build something or put on a little play. It makes the learning stick better.
Okay.
Plus, they learn other things too, like teamwork if it's a group project, or how to research and present, skills beyond just the subject matter.
And one more practical thing.
Yeah.
Comparing the curriculum to state standards. Why look at that?
It's a baseline check, really. It helps you understand the core knowledge and skills your child should be getting at each grade level.
So it ensures they're prepared.
Prepared, yeah. And it provides some consistency if you ever move schools. But, some schools aim to go beyond the standards, offering a richer curriculum, and that can be a big plus, too.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Educational philosophies. The article contrasts traditional and progressive methods. Can you break that down quickly?
Sure. Traditional is often more teacher-led. Structured lessons focus on the basics.
Desks in rows, maybe?
Sometimes, yeah. Progressive tends to be more student-centered. Exploration, group work, learning by doing. Think learning centers, more movement.
And one isn't necessarily better.
Exactly. It depends on the child, what works for them, and what the family values in education.
And tied into that is individualized learning. The article flags this as really important for top academics.
It is. It means the school really sees each child as an individual learner. They figure out strengths, weaknesses, pace.
And then they tailor things.
Right. Maybe different activities in the same class, maybe personal learning plans, or using tech that adapts, like a like the AI mentioned for Alpha School.
Okay, so keeping all that in mind, let's look at some of the specific Austin schools the article highlights. Alpha School comes up first, advanced, AI-driven learning.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, besides the AI, they stress the individual tutoring and those very low student-teacher ratios we talked about. Seems very personalized.
Then, St. Andrew's Episcopal School. Their focus.
St. Andrews looks like a strong all-rounder. Good academics, yes, but also a big emphasis on character building and lots of extracurriculars. Well-roundedness seems key there.
Okay. The Austin Waldorf School, they have a different approach, right?
Very different. Arts integrated is the term. They weave art, music, movement into everything. It's holistic mind, emotions, body, fosters creativity, like teaching math through rhythm or stories.
Interesting. How about St. Stephen's Episcopal School?
St. Stephen's sounds like rigorous academics, quite structured, but within a very nurturing, supportive setting, aiming for kids to thrive personally and academically.
And Regent School of Austin.
Regents is classical Christian, rooted in liberal arts, sciences, big focus on critical thinking, understanding Western tradition.
Wow. Okay, so a real spectrum of approaches there. Each sounds quite distinct. The article then zooms in on Alpha School again, specifically their 2-hour learning core academic program. Sounds intense.
It does sound focused. The idea is this dedicated 2-hour block for core subjects, aiming for really deep engagement, fast learning.
And the drivers behind that are?
3 main things, it seems. The AI personalizing everything, then frequent one-on-one tutoring to catch problems quickly, and again, that super low student-teacher ratio, like 3.1 up to maybe 10.1.
And how does that combo lead to results?
Well, the AI adjusts the difficulty and style for each kid. The tutoring gives immediate help if they're stuck, so they master things faster.
Right.
And because the core stuff is done intensely in those 2 hours, the afternoon is freed up for other things, workshops, activities. It's designed for efficiency and adaptation. If a kid's a visual learner, the AI might show more diagrams, that kind of thing.
Okay, let's broaden out again. Teaching methods across these top schools. We mentioned traditional, progressive. What about inquiry-based learning? How does that play out?
Inquiry-based. It's all about sparking curiosity, letting kids explore and figure things out rather than just being told.
So asking questions, investigating.
Exactly, at their level, of course. Maybe a science challenge. Why does this float? And they design little tests. It makes them thinkers, problem solvers. You see it in science labs, group projects, maybe even debate clubs where they research arguments.
And back to the classical and traditional methods. What are their strengths, especially in elementary?
Structure and fundamentals. They often have a very systematic way of building core skills, reading, writing, math, direct instruction, practice. It can be very effective for building that solid knowledge base.
Right.
A classical school might really emphasize grammar, logic, maybe reading foundational texts early on, builds reasoning, gives context.
And the holistic Waldorf approach.
Yeah.
Key benefits there for young kids.
It's about the whole child, right? Mind, body, spirit, using arts, movement, practical work alongside academics.
Like baking to learn fractions.
Exactly, or acting out history. It aims to nurture creativity, imagination, make learning engaging through multiple senses.
Now, a big one. I know parents wonder about this. Does spending more on tuition guarantee better academics? It's a huge cost.
Yeah, that's a crucial question. And the article suggests it's not that simple.
Not a direct correlation.
Not necessarily. Higher tuition often pays for things like smaller classes, very experienced teachers, amazing facilities, lots of extras. These can help.
But they don't automatically mean the core teaching is better.
Exactly. They don't guarantee superior academic outcomes on their own.
So what does drive up the cost if it's not purely academics?
Well, those things we mentioned. Small classes cost more per student. Highly experienced teachers command higher salaries. Maintaining fancy science labs or theaters costs money. Offering tons of clubs and sports adds up. All valuable, but their link to core academic strength isn't always direct.
And the article says mid-price schools can still be excellent academically. How so?
Absolutely. A school can be fantastic if it has a strong curriculum, really passionate, effective teachers, and a great community feel, even without the absolute highest tuition.
So they might focus resources differently.
Right. Maybe more on teacher training and core subjects, less on, say, Olympic-sized pools. It shows you really need to look beyond the sticker price.
So if tuition isn't the only thing, what else should parents really focus on?
Culture and values are huge. Does the school's philosophy fit your family? Does it feel right for your child? Nurturing, supportive.
So visiting is key.
Oh, definitely. The article stresses that. Go see the place, feel the vibe, talk to the teachers, the principal. That firsthand feel tells you a lot.
Okay, let's quickly run through some FAQs the article tackled. Average tuition range for these top Austin schools.
It's pretty broad, according to the piece, anywhere from, say, $15,000 up to $40,000 plus per year. Depends on the school.
And how can parents check curriculum rigor? What should they look for?
Look for clear goals in reading and math for each grade. Ask about teacher qualifications. Understand the school's philosophy in action. And check how it lines up with state standards or if it goes beyond.
Does Alpha School, with its tech focus, work for different learning styles?
The article suggests yes. Because the AI is designed to adapt to individual pace and preferences, it should cater to a range of learners.
And the link between smaller classes and performance, what's the general take?
Generally positive. Smaller classes often mean more attention, which can boost performance. But, and this is important, curriculum quality and teacher effectiveness matter just as much, maybe more.
Right. A small class with a weak teacher isn't ideal.
Exactly.
Lastly, extracurriculars. Do they impact academics?
The article suggests they can, positively. They offer different ways to learn, build skills like critical thinking or teamwork in new areas. It fosters growth that can spill back into academics, like debate clubs sharpens thinking for essays.
This has been incredibly helpful. It really paints a picture of, well, how complex this choice is. It's not just about rankings.
Not at all. Building that strong academic foundation early is so important. It sets up that curiosity for life. But the best school, it's really about finding the right fit for the individual child.
Supporting their style, nurturing their interests.
Exactly. Igniting that love of learning. That's the goal.
So for listeners trying to figure this out, the main takeaway, and what are the next steps?
Takeaway. Look deeper than scores and cost. Understand the philosophy, the teachers, the curriculum, the individual support. Next steps. Definitely visit.
Get a feel for the place.
Yeah, see classrooms, talk to people, see if it resonates for your child and your family.
Fantastic insights. Thanks so much for walking us through this.
My pleasure. It's an important topic.
Absolutely. And now a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. Thinking about everything we've discussed, the different philosophies, methods, environments, what specific aspect of a school, beyond just its academic name recognition, do you think would make the biggest positive difference for your child's learning journey and their future?